Well, hello everybody. My name is Mei King Sang. My first name is Mei King, and I've been asked to deliver a 30-minute presentation to you on getting started with Twitter. So let's have a go at sharing this screen so that we can go through what I'm going to cover. So this is the first time I've actually conducted a Zoom presentation before, or hosted one. So there will be little stops and changes. But anyway, let's have a look at getting started with Twitter, shall we? I just want to thank Paul Bassey for inviting me to deliver this presentation with you. And the wonderful Your Mentor community is an amazing space, as you know. If you're a bit of a lurker, though, if you sort of read stuff and you're a little bit shy, come out, we don't bite. You know, if we don't ask for help, then you're never going to get it. So please ask for help as much as you can, and we'll do our best to help you. You know, being in business can often feel like the loneliest place on the planet, but it really, really doesn't need to be, which is why Paul is providing such an amazing value, like free value, free tools, and, you know, specialists in their field to help you, because we all have to help each other. We all need to support each other. Okay, so let's have a look. So this is me. My first name is Mei King Sang. Sorry, my full name is Mei King Sang. My first name is Mei King, and I have a business called Making Tea. Ta-da! So I am a tea rock star. I started my business in London. Then 10 months later, I relocated to Australia, and then I had to start my business from scratch, really, and in building it from scratch, I didn't know a single person in Australia, and I had to work really, really hard, to get known. And I use the techniques that I'm actually going to share with you right now. So I'm a big believer in practicing what I preach and practicing what I teach, so that you guys can use exactly the same tools and tips that I used in order to drive my business forward. So I built my business in Australia, had a really, really great time. Appeared on TV several times, and radio, newspaper, local newspaper, national newspapers, worked with amazing artists, artists as in food artists, you know, chefs, award-winning chefs. I worked with a global artist. He was responsible for the Beijing opening and closing ceremonies. Remember the fireworks? That was all him. And I was able to help, I was able to work with him, which is awesome. And then that all came through opportunities through social media, and mainly through Twitter, which is why I really want to help you guys today. Now, I also helped a lot of tea businesses. So, you know, I did really well with Twitter, and sold quite a bit of tea. So then a lot of people say, well, how did you do this? How did you do that? And so a lot of tea companies would approach me. And so I would give them information. And then I thought, you know what, I can teach them. Let's do that. So let's teach them everything, and I mean everything that I did, so that they can do it for their business too. So I did that, and I realized that I love teaching. And so I extended it to other business owners, and I created a Facebook group called Queensland Business to get known, build relationships, and so on. But I also helped businesses as well. So I ran workshops on there on Twitter, and if you have a look on YouTube, there's a 30-minute video on hashtags that I did as well. So do go and check that out once you feel more comfortable with the start of Twitter. So let's move on to the next part of the presentation. Really, you really want to get started, so let's do that. So your Twitter name. Your Twitter name is just so important. You have no idea just how important it is. Now, a lot of people go through a dilemma. Do they start with a business name? Do they start with their real name? Now, you can see that I created an account called Making Tea. Now, I thought I future-proofed it. because I thought, yeah, I'm going to be in the tea business for a while. Yeah, making tea, that makes sense. My first name is Making, put in Making Tea, that's my business name. It's a little bit cheeky. So that's a business name. Now, there's also, your virtual mentors. Paul has decided to use his business name there as well. Now, you could use your own name, because actually there may be other businesses that you want to go into. And in fact, I'm actually branching out to other social media platforms. I'm teaching and so on. So does Making Tea in itself have anything to do with social media? No, people might get a bit confused with that. So I have a hashtag, Making It Happen. And I can explain making it happen is about making a success of your business through social media and that kind of stuff. But that means I need to create 2 Twitter accounts. So if I'd have thought about it, perhaps what I could have done is maybe had my name, Making Sang, and then it could, go into various bits and pieces. Or I could create another account called Making It Happen. Or I could create another account called Making Sang. So there's lots of different various ways, not to confuse you, but there are lots of ways that you can actually set up your account. And so whatever you start with, you need to decide what you're going to continue with. And it's no biggie. It's absolutely no biggie. Even though I've got Making Tea, I can still do my social media stuff. I can tell people in the bio, which is the next bit. So it's not the end of the world. So don't be too worried about your name if you're a bit worried. Now, sometimes if you create an account and if your name is a relatively common name, then it may say, Twitter recommends this, John Smith 123. Now, having a number after your name is a little bit confusing for people, because will people remember that number? Will people put in 122 by accident and get somebody else and they don't discover you? So if you can avoid a number, then do that. But I mean, even pop stars and rock stars who weren't able to capture the original name, they've put in a number 1, and that's better than nothing. Okay, so there are variations that you can do. So it could be, the real John Smith. I am John Smith. Things like that, if you wanted to. Or what you could do is actually put your job title, or not your job title, what you do in your business name. So it could be John the Sheffield Plumber, something like that. But if you put in John the Sheffield Plumber, does that imply that you're only localised in Sheffield and you're not willing to travel down to London? So there's all sorts of implications about the name. Now, I don't want to go into it too much because I don't want to overwhelm you at all. But, have a think about the name. If you've already got a name and you think, oh, I shouldn't have done this, shouldn't do that, please do not worry. The main thing is that you keep using Twitter and you keep using it so that people will become familiar with your name. But if you have the privilege of never going on Twitter, then have a little bit of a think about future-proofing your Twitter name going forward. But don't worry about it too much, because you can always delete it and create another account if you want to. It really doesn't matter. So I don't want to say it's really, really important and, leave you into a space of overwhelm and procrastination. Don't want to do that. The best thing is to get started, of course. But if you can plan and have a good name, then that would be quite good. Now, what Paul Bass has done here is he's actually called it Your V Mentors. And that's really key, because you've got the actual name, the Twitter name, and the display name. So Paul has put Your V Mentors because it's short. It means that you don't need to type in the whole thing, Your Virtual Mentors. But in the display name, he's put in fully Your Virtual Mentors, so that you know that Your V Mentors doesn't mean something else, because it could be your, another V word mentors, Your Valuable Mentors. It could be Your Valuable Mentors, couldn't it? So having the display name as well as the Twitter name is really, really important. The next thing is the cover photo, okay? The cover page.